In the world of relationships, it's easy to get caught up in emotions and lose sight of what truly matters: your time, your peace of mind, and your emotional well-being. One of the most frustrating experiences is when you feel like you're being played by someone who isn't fully invested in you. Whether it's a romantic interest or someone you've been spending time with, recognizing when you're being manipulated is crucial for your growth and peace. Today, we're going to dive deep into 7 signs a girl is playing you from a Stoic perspective. Stoicism, an ancient philosophy practiced by figures like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, teaches us to focus on what we can control and to remain indifferent to what we can't. It emphasizes maintaining inner calm, self-respect, and clear judgment in all circumstances. In the realm of relationships, Stoicism can help you develop the clarity needed to see through manipulation and avoid wasting your time on someone who isn't giving you the same level of commitment or respect. So, how can you tell when someone is playing you? Often it's through subtle yet telling behaviors that can leave you confused, drained, and questioning yourself. Whether it's inconsistent communication, emotional manipulation, or a lack of respect for your boundaries, these signs are often the product of someone who isn't genuinely invested in the connection. Stoicism teaches us to value ourselves enough to walk away from situations that don't contribute to our growth, peace, or happiness. In this video, we'll uncover the 7 key signs that a girl might be playing you and how adopting a Stoic mindset can help you protect yourself from these toxic dynamics. Stay tuned, and let's dive into how you can avoid wasting your time and energy on relationships that aren't built on honesty, respect, and mutual value. Number 1. She shows inconsistent interest in any meaningful relationship. Consistency is key. Consistency in actions, words, and feelings is what helps build trust and creates a foundation of stability. When someone shows inconsistent interest, it can be a sign that they are not truly invested in you or the relationship. From a Stoic perspective, this type of behavior is a clear indication of a lack of respect for your time and emotional energy. It is crucial to recognize this pattern early, as it can save you from unnecessary emotional turmoil and wasted time. At the beginning of a relationship or interaction, it may seem like everything is going well. She may be responsive, engaged, and showing you attention, making you feel valued and important. However, over time, you start noticing that her level of engagement fluctuates. One day, she's incredibly warm and affectionate, and the next, she seems distant or cold, without any clear reason. These shifts in behavior can cause confusion and make you question whether you're doing something wrong. It's important to remember that someone who is truly interested in you will not leave you guessing about their intentions. Their behavior will remain consistent, and their level of effort will be steady. From a Stoic perspective, this kind of inconsistency goes against the principles of emotional self-sufficiency and inner peace. Stoicism teaches that we must not rely on external validation to define our worth. If someone is hot and cold, constantly shifting their behavior based on their own moods, it reveals a lack of genuine investment in you. A Stoic approach would encourage you to avoid investing emotional energy in someone who is not steady in their intentions. Instead, you should remain focused on your own growth and well-being, understanding that your emotional peace should not be dictated by the actions of others. The challenge with inconsistent interest is that it can often feel like you're on an emotional roller coaster. One moment, she might give you the attention and affection you crave, making you feel wanted and special. The next moment, however, she may withdraw or become distant, leaving you wondering what went wrong. This type of behavior can be emotionally draining, especially when it happens repeatedly. It's a classic sign of someone who may be playing games or keeping their options open rather than being fully committed to you or the relationship. From a psychological perspective, inconsistent interest is often a manipulation tactic. This can be a form of emotional control where the person creates uncertainty in the relationship to keep you invested in them. When someone is inconsistent in their behavior, they're often testing your emotional boundaries and seeing how much attention and effort they can get from you without giving much in return. The goal is to maintain a sense of power or control over your emotions. In these situations, it is important to remember that you deserve someone who is as emotionally invested in the relationship as you are. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. You cannot control someone's feelings or actions, but you can control your response to them. If you notice that a girl is consistently inconsistent, it's time to detach emotionally and evaluate whether this relationship is truly serving your growth and happiness. The Stoic approach to inconsistency would involve maintaining your emotional equilibrium in the face of this uncertainty. Instead of reacting with frustration, anxiety, or confusion, you should take a step back and assess the situation with clarity. Ask yourself if this is a pattern that aligns with your values and your vision of a healthy relationship. If the answer is no, it's time to move on and stop investing your energy into someone who cannot provide you with the consistency and respect you deserve. Ultimately, the Stoic mindset encourages you to place your focus on internal stability rather than external validation. If someone is showing inconsistent interest, it's not a reflection of your worth, but rather of their own emotional instability or lack of genuine commitment. The key is to understand your own value and not settle for less than you deserve. A Stoic would embrace the idea that time and energy are precious, and they would choose to invest in relationships that are aligned with their principles of honesty, consistency, and mutual respect. Recognizing inconsistency in interest early on can be empowering. It allows you to make decisions that prioritize your emotional health and peace of mind. In the end, embracing the Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control, your actions and responses, helps you protect yourself from unnecessary heartache and allows you to move forward with clarity and confidence. Number 2. She avoids serious conversations. One of the most telling signs that someone is playing you is when they consistently avoid serious conversations. Relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, thrive on communication. Honest, transparent, and open conversations are the bedrock of understanding, growth, and mutual respect. If a girl avoids talking about meaningful or serious topics, it's a clear indication that she may not be emotionally invested in the relationship, or worse, she might be intentionally playing games with you. From a Stoic perspective, this type of behavior can be seen as an attempt to avoid responsibility or emotional depth. Stoicism teaches us to face life with clarity, integrity, and courage. It's not about avoiding challenges or difficult conversations, but embracing them as opportunities for personal growth and deeper understanding. In relationships, avoiding serious topics reflects a lack of maturity and commitment. A Stoic would understand that a true connection with someone requires facing uncomfortable truths, discussing difficult matters, and being vulnerable with one another. When a girl repeatedly avoids serious conversations, it often feels like you're not getting the full picture of who she is or what she truly wants. You may try to talk about important matters, such as the future, your feelings, or relationship boundaries, but she will sidestep these discussions, either by changing the subject or deflecting the conversation with humor or distractions. This can leave you feeling like you're in a one-sided relationship where you're the only one trying to engage meaningfully. The Stoic response to this would be to recognize that such behavior is not a reflection of your worth or the value of the relationship, but rather a sign of her unwillingness to engage deeply. According to Stoic teachings, we should not invest in relationships where honesty and mutual understanding are not prioritized. Avoiding serious conversations often indicates emotional immaturity or a reluctance to commit to the relationship, and this is a behavior that should not be tolerated by someone who values their own emotional well-being and growth. Emotionally mature individuals are not afraid to confront tough topics. They understand that deep conversations, whether they involve discussing feelings, fears, goals, or even challenges, are essential for building a lasting connection. If someone is constantly dodging serious matters, it can create a sense of uncertainty in the relationship. You may begin to wonder if they're hiding something, are emotionally unavailable, or are simply uninterested in taking the relationship to the next level. It's important to realize that this type of avoidance can be a form of emotional manipulation, especially if she is using it as a tactic to keep you on edge or unsure of where you stand. Another key element to consider is that avoiding serious conversations often stems from an unwillingness to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is a fundamental component of building intimacy in any relationship. When a girl refuses to open up or engage in meaningful discussions, it can suggest that she is not willing to invest the necessary emotional energy into the relationship. This leaves you feeling emotionally disconnected, which is the opposite of what a healthy, reciprocal relationship should feel like. From a Stoic point of view, vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. It is the courage to face uncomfortable truths, share your feelings honestly, and engage in difficult conversations that ultimately strengthen relationships. Avoiding serious discussions, on the other hand, signifies a refusal to face these challenges and can be detrimental to the growth of the relationship. A Stoic would understand that engaging in meaningful conversations, even when they are difficult, is vital for the longevity and depth of any connection. If you're faced with someone who constantly avoids serious conversations, the Stoic approach would be to reflect on the situation and decide whether it aligns with your values. A relationship built on evasion and lack of communication cannot thrive. It's essential to assess whether this behavior is something you are willing to tolerate or whether it's time to move on and preserve your emotional integrity. In these situations, your emotional self-sufficiency and clarity are key. If you find that your attempts to engage in serious discussions are consistently met with avoidance, it's crucial to detach emotionally and reassess the relationship. As a Stoic, you understand that your emotional peace should not be contingent upon another person's reluctance to communicate openly. Instead of allowing this behavior to cause you stress or anxiety, you can choose to value your own time and energy, recognizing that meaningful, mature relationships require the courage to have tough conversations. Ultimately, the Stoic mindset encourages you to focus on what is within your control, your actions, your responses, and your values. If someone is unwilling to engage in serious conversations, it's a signal that they may not be as emotionally invested in the relationship as you are. Recognizing this early on can help you protect your emotional well-being and avoid wasting time on a connection that lacks depth and sincerity. Number 3. She only reaches out when it's convenient for her. One of the most telling signs that a girl may be playing you is when she only reaches out to you when it's convenient for her. Relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, require mutual effort and respect, and one of the key indicators of someone's true intentions is their consistency in reaching out. If someone only makes contact when they need something from you or when it fits into their schedule, it's a clear sign of emotional manipulation and a lack of genuine interest. From a Stoic perspective, this behavior reflects an imbalance in the relationship and a lack of emotional maturity. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what we can control, our own actions, feelings, and decisions, and to remain indifferent to the behavior of others when it is beyond our control. If someone is only reaching out when it's convenient for them, they are essentially taking advantage of your emotional availability without offering anything of equal value in return. This is where the Stoic concept of emotional self-sufficiency comes into play. You should not rely on the whims of others for validation, and instead focus on maintaining your own peace and dignity. When someone only contacts you when it suits them, it often leaves you in a state of uncertainty. You may find yourself constantly wondering why they're not reaching out more regularly, or why their communication feels so one-sided. Sometimes they'll make grand gestures or show interest only when they are bored, lonely, or need something from you. But once they've gotten what they wanted, they may disappear again. This kind of behavior leaves you questioning the sincerity of the connection. A person who truly values you will reach out without needing to be prompted by convenience. They will make an effort to stay in touch and be present, regardless of their schedule or personal interests. This on and off dynamic can leave you feeling drained and emotionally unfulfilled. It may feel like you're constantly trying to fill in the gaps of a relationship where only one person is doing the emotional work. This can cause frustration and confusion, as you might invest time and energy into waiting for their next move or trying to decipher their mixed signals. It's important to realize that you deserve someone who reaches out because they care about you, not because they have a temporary need for your attention or company. From a psychological standpoint, this behavior is often a sign of someone who is emotionally immature or playing games to maintain control. They may reach out to you when they're in need of validation or when it's convenient for their own life, but they don't offer the same energy when you need them or when things are less convenient. This inconsistency in effort shows that the relationship isn't built on mutual respect or care, but rather on one person's desire to keep you available as a backup option when they require attention or emotional support. In these situations, the Stoic response would be to detach emotionally and assess the situation objectively. Instead of giving in to frustration or confusion, a Stoic would approach this behavior with clear judgment and inner calm. You can acknowledge that while you cannot control her actions, you have control over your own responses. If someone is only reaching out when it's convenient for them, it's a reflection of their priorities. And if you are not a priority, you should reconsider how much energy and time you are willing to invest. Stoicism teaches us to value our time and emotional energy. The more you become aware of the imbalance in this relationship, the more you can detach from the unhealthy dynamic. Instead of reacting with frustration or trying to win their attention, a Stoic would focus on maintaining their own sense of worth and dignity. They would recognize that relationships require balance, mutual respect, and effort, and that you are worthy of someone who reaches out to you because they truly value you, not just when it's convenient. Moreover, when you begin to detach from this one-sided dynamic, you also open the space for better connections. By recognizing this behavior early, you can choose to redirect your energy toward relationships where both parties are equally invested in each other's well-being and happiness. In conclusion, if you find that a girl only reaches out when it's convenient for her, it's a red flag that should not be ignored. By adopting a Stoic mindset, you can remain emotionally balanced, detach from the situation, and make choices that preserve your emotional health. Remember that you deserve relationships that are based on mutual respect, where both people invest in each other's lives without ulterior motives or convenience as a primary factor. Number 4. She plays mind games. One of the most manipulative and damaging behaviors in any relationship is playing mind games. Mind games often involve manipulating someone's emotions, creating confusion, or pushing them into a state of uncertainty, all with the goal of gaining control or getting what they want. If a girl is playing mind games with you, it's a clear sign that she is not being straightforward or sincere, and it is an indication that you are being used for her own emotional gain. Recognizing this behavior early on is key to protecting your mental and emotional well-being. From a Stoic perspective, the key to emotional resilience and peace is the ability to stay grounded, detached, and unaffected by external manipulations. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. When someone plays mind games, they attempt to destabilize your emotional state, manipulating your thoughts, feelings, and actions to their advantage. The Stoic approach here is simple. Don't let their actions disrupt your inner peace. Instead, understand the behavior for what it is and choose to protect your emotional clarity by distancing yourself from the manipulative tactics. Mind games often involve tactics like playing hot and cold, sending mixed signals, or saying things that cause doubt and confusion. One minute, she might be affectionate, attentive, and present, and the next, she could be distant, cold, or even rude. These shifts create an emotional roller coaster where you're constantly trying to figure out what's really going on and what she truly wants. When someone's behavior doesn't match their words and their actions seem designed to make you second-guess yourself, it's a form of emotional manipulation. At first, you might think that her behavior is simply a misunderstanding or a result of external factors, but as the pattern repeats, it becomes clearer that this inconsistency is deliberate. She might also play on your insecurities or weaknesses, using them to manipulate your actions or make you chase after her. This can create an unhealthy dynamic where you feel like you are constantly trying to prove your worth or fight for her attention, never truly understanding where you stand in the relationship. The Stoic mindset teaches us not to fall into this trap. Stoics believe in maintaining emotional independence and self-sufficiency. If someone is playing mind games, it's important to recognize that their actions are outside of your control. You cannot change or manipulate someone's behavior, but you can control your response. By remaining detached and clear-minded, you can avoid being drawn into their emotional games and avoid losing your peace of mind. Another key aspect of mind games is the use of passive-aggressive behavior. This includes subtle digs, sarcasm, or playing on your emotions to make you feel guilty, anxious, or insecure. These indirect tactics can be difficult to spot at first, especially if they are veiled under the guise of humor or innocent remarks. Over time, however, this kind of behavior erodes trust and causes unnecessary emotional strain. You may begin to feel that you're walking on eggshells, unsure of how to act or what to say for fear of setting off a negative reaction. This constant manipulation can be emotionally draining and leave you feeling emotionally depleted. From a Stoic perspective, playing mind games reveals a lack of integrity and emotional maturity. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of acting with honesty and clear intentions, which is the opposite of what mind games are all about. If someone is using manipulative tactics to get what they want, it reflects a lack of respect for you and your emotional well-being. A Stoic would understand that this kind of behavior is not worth engaging with. Instead, they would calmly detach from the situation and choose to walk away, understanding that their own inner peace is far more valuable than engaging in someone else's emotional drama. The key to dealing with mind games is recognizing that they are a form of emotional manipulation that seeks to control or unsettle you. Instead of responding emotionally, a Stoic would focus on the bigger picture, keeping their composure and making decisions based on clarity and rational thinking. This might involve setting clear boundaries, communicating your needs honestly, or distancing yourself from the person if their behavior continues. Ultimately, the Stoic approach is about understanding that mind games are a sign of emotional immaturity and manipulation. You cannot control others' actions, but you can control your emotional responses and your decisions. If you find yourself caught in a web of mind games, the best course of action is to step back, regain your clarity, and choose not to engage with someone who is attempting to destabilize your emotional well-being. By prioritizing your peace of mind and making decisions rooted in self-respect, you empower yourself to break free from manipulative relationships and avoid wasting time with people who don't value you for who you truly are. In conclusion, playing mind games is a toxic behavior that undermines the foundation of any healthy relationship. It creates confusion, insecurity, and emotional instability. From a Stoic perspective, the best way to handle someone who is playing mind games is to detach emotionally, maintain your composure, and recognize that their behavior is a reflection of their own lack of emotional maturity. You deserve relationships that are based on honesty, respect, and clear communication. Mind games should never be part of the equation. Number 5. She respects your boundaries only when it's convenient for her. A crucial aspect of any healthy relationship is mutual respect, particularly when it comes to personal boundaries. Boundaries are the lines we draw to protect our physical, emotional, and psychological well-being. They are essential for maintaining healthy interactions and ensuring that both parties feel safe and respected. However, if a girl respects your boundaries only when it's convenient for her, it's a significant red flag that she may be playing with your emotions or using you for her benefit, without a genuine interest in fostering a healthy, balanced relationship. From a Stoic perspective, respecting boundaries is not just a matter of personal preference. It's a principle that reflects self-control, integrity, and mutual respect. Stoicism teaches us to set clear boundaries with others, to maintain our inner peace, and to avoid being unduly affected by external forces or manipulations. If someone repeatedly ignores or only abides by your boundaries when it suits them, it shows that they lack the emotional maturity or respect needed to engage in a meaningful, lasting relationship. For a Stoic, the principle of self-respect is non-negotiable, and it's essential to honor your own boundaries, regardless of the behavior of others. When someone respects your boundaries only when it benefits them, it creates an unhealthy dynamic in the relationship. Perhaps she will honor your need for space or time alone when she has nothing else going on, but when it's inconvenient for her or she needs something from you, those boundaries are suddenly overlooked. She may push you to make exceptions for her or manipulate the situation in a way that makes you feel guilty for asserting your needs. This inconsistency is a form of emotional manipulation, where your boundaries are not truly valued. They are merely respected when it's convenient or advantageous for her. For example, she may initially agree to give you space when you ask for it, but when she wants something from you, be it attention, affection, or a favor, she may disregard the boundary you've set, expecting you to drop everything and comply. In such cases, your needs are put on the back burner in favor of her desires, and you might feel pressured into compromising your own well-being. This type of behavior can leave you feeling drained, disrespected, and uncertain about the strength and sincerity of the relationship. From a psychological standpoint, someone who only respects your boundaries when it's convenient is showing signs of selfishness and emotional inconsistency. Relationships thrive when both individuals are equally committed to each other's happiness and comfort. If she only respects your needs when it suits her, it suggests that she is not genuinely invested in the relationship or your well-being. Instead, she may be more focused on her own convenience and desires. This behavior is not only disrespectful, but it also diminishes the value of your boundaries, turning them into mere suggestions rather than non-negotiable aspects of your self-care. In these situations, it's important to remain grounded in your own values and principles. A Stoic would recognize that while you cannot control how others behave, you do have control over your own responses. If someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, it's a clear sign that they do not value you or the relationship enough to honor your needs. The Stoic response would be to calmly and firmly reinforce your boundaries without guilt or hesitation. If the person continues to disregard your limits, a Stoic would understand that this is a reflection of their lack of respect for you, and it may be time to distance yourself from the relationship. Furthermore, the Stoic principle of emotional resilience teaches that you should not rely on others to define your sense of worth or emotional safety. If someone continually disrespects your boundaries, they are imposing their desires over your well-being, and that should not be tolerated. A Stoic would maintain their inner peace by not allowing this person's behavior to unsettle them. Instead of reacting emotionally to their disregard for your boundaries, you would calmly recognize that this situation is beyond your control and choose to detach or distance yourself in a way that maintains your dignity and emotional health. Another important consideration is the long-term impact of tolerating boundary violations. If you consistently allow someone to disrespect your boundaries, you may start to feel resentful, frustrated, or emotionally exhausted. Over time, this can erode your self-esteem and lead to unhealthy dynamics in the relationship. A Stoic would understand the importance of protecting their own mental and emotional well-being and would avoid letting someone's behavior compromise their inner balance. In conclusion, if a girl only respects your boundaries when it's convenient for her, it's a clear indication that she is not fully committed to the relationship or to treating you with the respect you deserve. Boundaries are a vital part of self-care, and anyone who values you will honor them consistently. A Stoic response to this behavior would be to remain calm, assert your needs firmly, and detach emotionally from anyone who continues to violate your boundaries. By doing so, you protect your peace, your dignity, and your emotional health, allowing you to invest your time and energy into relationships that are built on genuine respect and mutual care. Number 6. She uses you as an emotional backup. One of the most emotionally draining and manipulative behaviors in a relationship is when someone uses you as an emotional backup. This behavior occurs when someone keeps you around, not because they are genuinely invested in you or the relationship, but because they view you as a safety net or fallback option. When things aren't going well in their primary relationships or they need someone to lean on, they turn to you for emotional support or validation. But when they're in a more convenient or satisfying situation, they disappear or show little interest in your emotional well-being. From a Stoic perspective, it's important to recognize when you are being used as a tool for someone else's emotional comfort. Stoicism emphasizes emotional resilience, self-sufficiency, and the importance of preserving one's inner peace. The Stoic approach teaches that we should not let others dictate our emotional state, and if someone is using you as an emotional backup, it's crucial to recognize that their behavior is a reflection of their own lack of maturity and respect, not your worth. When a girl uses you as an emotional backup, it's a clear indication that she is not invested in the relationship as an equal partnership. She may come to you when she's feeling insecure, lonely, or when her primary relationship, whether it's romantic, familial, or even with friends, is experiencing difficulties. In these moments, she might pour her emotions onto you, seeking comfort, validation, or attention. However, when she's feeling secure, happy, or engaged in other areas of her life, she may pull away or show little interest in your emotional needs. This behavior is a classic example of emotional manipulation, as it leaves you in a constant state of uncertainty and emotional imbalance. You are expected to drop everything and be there for her when she needs you, but when it's your turn to receive emotional support, she is nowhere to be found. This creates an imbalanced dynamic where you give and give without receiving the same level of care and consideration in return. From a Stoic viewpoint, the key to handling this situation is to recognize that you cannot control someone else's actions, but you can control how you respond. If you find yourself constantly being used as an emotional backup, it's important to take a step back and assess whether this is a healthy, sustainable dynamic. The Stoic response here is not to emotionally react to the manipulation, but to take a clear-eyed look at the situation, set boundaries, and refuse to let yourself be treated as a fallback option. A crucial part of this process is self-awareness and self-respect. Stoicism teaches that we must focus on developing our inner virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and that we should never compromise our own well-being for the sake of another person's convenience. If someone is using you as an emotional backup, they are not showing you the respect you deserve, and continuing to allow this behavior will only cause emotional strain and diminish your self-worth over time. The Stoic path is to recognize your value and make decisions that protect your peace, your emotional stability, and your happiness. Another aspect to consider is the lack of reciprocity in the relationship. Emotional give and take is the foundation of a healthy relationship. Both parties should contribute to each other's well-being, and both should be there for each other in times of need. If someone is only reaching out when they need something from you, but is absent when you need support, the relationship becomes one-sided and ultimately unsustainable. A Stoic response would be to calmly recognize this imbalance, assert your needs, and set boundaries with the individual. If they continue to take advantage of your emotional availability without offering the same in return, it may be time to reassess whether this relationship is worth maintaining. Ultimately, using someone as an emotional backup is an indication of a lack of true commitment to the relationship and a sign of emotional immaturity. From a Stoic perspective, it's important to maintain your emotional independence and to not allow yourself to be used or taken for granted. If someone consistently turns to you only in moments of emotional need but doesn't show care for your own emotional health, it's a clear sign that they are not valuing you as a person. The Stoic approach is to maintain your sense of self-worth and detachment, recognizing that your value does not depend on someone else's fickle emotions or actions. In conclusion, if a girl uses you as an emotional backup, it's a sign that she is not respecting you as an equal partner in the relationship. This type of behavior is emotionally draining, manipulative, and ultimately unsustainable. The Stoic response is to recognize the imbalance, set clear boundaries, and protect your emotional well-being. By doing so, you preserve your inner peace and avoid wasting your time and energy on someone who does not genuinely value you. Number 7. She gives you mixed signals. One of the most confusing and frustrating signs that a girl might be playing you is when she gives you mixed signals. Mixed signals can leave you feeling uncertain about her true feelings, creating a situation where you're constantly questioning whether she's truly interested in you or not. This inconsistency in behavior can be emotionally exhausting and may make you feel like you're always on edge, never quite sure where you stand in the relationship. It's important to recognize this behavior early on, as it's a clear indication of emotional manipulation or a lack of genuine commitment. From a Stoic perspective, clarity and understanding are essential for peace of mind. Mixed signals disrupt our ability to act with clarity and make decisions based on reason rather than emotions. The Stoic philosophy teaches us to control our reactions to external situations and to focus on maintaining our inner calm. When you're dealing with someone who constantly sends mixed signals, it can be difficult to maintain this peace, especially if you allow the uncertainty to affect your emotional state. Mixed signals can take many forms. For example, she might act distant one moment and then overly affectionate the next. She may text you consistently, but then go silent for days without any explanation. At times, she might seem fully engaged in the relationship, showing you attention, care, and interest. Then, just as quickly, she might pull back or become emotionally distant, leaving you wondering what went wrong. This back and forth can be confusing and leave you questioning her true feelings and intentions. One common pattern of mixed signals is when a girl is hot and cold. She shows interest in you when it's convenient for her, or when she's feeling lonely. But when things are going well in other areas of her life, she disappears or becomes distant. She may initiate contact when she's bored or emotionally needy, but when things are calm or she's distracted by other pursuits, she seems indifferent or unresponsive. This creates a pattern where you never know where you stand, and you're left second-guessing her level of commitment. The Stoic response to mixed signals is to maintain emotional clarity and detachment. While it's natural to want answers or closure, Stoicism teaches that you cannot control other people's actions or emotions. What you can control is how you react to those actions. If a person is sending you mixed signals, the Stoic approach is to step back and assess the situation from a place of rationality. Understand that someone who cannot express clear intentions is not offering you the respect or certainty you deserve in a relationship. It's important to detach from the emotional chaos and avoid letting the mixed signals dictate your emotional state. Furthermore, the Stoic ideal of virtue calls for you to maintain your integrity and self-respect. If someone is unclear about their intentions or emotions, it's an indication that they might not have the same level of emotional maturity or respect for you as you deserve. Rather than investing energy into deciphering mixed signals, a Stoic would focus on cultivating their own inner strength and clarity. By doing so, you create space for healthy, balanced relationships where both parties are clear about their intentions and actions. Another aspect to consider is that mixed signals often come from a place of insecurity or manipulation. Some people use this tactic to keep you on your toes, ensuring that you remain interested in them even when they aren't fully committed. This can be a way to keep you emotionally invested without offering you anything stable or consistent in return. For a Stoic, this kind of emotional manipulation is not acceptable. You deserve a relationship based on mutual respect and understanding, where both parties communicate openly and honestly. If you continue to engage with someone who gives you mixed signals, you may find yourself becoming emotionally entangled and uncertain about your own feelings. Over time, this confusion can erode your self-confidence and self-respect, leaving you feeling unappreciated and unsure of your own worth. The Stoic approach would be to detach from this confusion and focus on relationships that offer clarity, respect, and emotional stability. Ultimately, mixed signals are a clear indication that someone is not fully committed to being transparent or respectful in their interactions with you. They may be unsure of their own feelings, or worse, intentionally keeping you uncertain to maintain control or manipulate your emotions. The Stoic response is to acknowledge the behavior for what it is, detach emotionally, and refocus on your own well-being. By setting boundaries and refusing to accept mixed signals, you protect your inner peace and avoid wasting time on someone who is not offering you the clarity and respect you deserve. In conclusion, if a girl is consistently giving you mixed signals, it's a sign that she may be playing with your emotions or is simply not invested in the relationship in a meaningful way. Mixed signals create emotional instability and confusion, making it difficult to know where you stand. A Stoic would recognize this as a situation that disrupts inner peace and would respond by detaching, setting boundaries, and focusing on relationships where clarity and mutual respect prevail.